In our You Decide 2024 coverage, we are just 5 days out from the election.
Early voting continued today in Oklahoma, and so did those long lines to get into the polls. Fox 23 shot this drone video of the line at the new election board headquarters near 11th and I-44 in East Tulsa.
Since this is such a heated election, you might be getting a lot of questions from your kids about the race.
Fox 23's Sunny Lee explains how to talk politics with your kids.
This is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
He admires dictators.
Outside of putting your kids into a bubble, how do you protect them from some of the vitriol that often comes from this year's deep political divides? And how do you keep them encouraged enough to still participate in the process? Well, it's a delicate balance, and experts say it depends on their age. We talked to some local moms to get their perspective.
Yeah, my fourth grader came home the other day, and she said they were kind of splitting off into camps, and I said, well, that's what do you think, And she said, well, Mama, I want to know what's going to happen and how that would actually work. And I thought, okay, we've done something right.
For mom of three, Katya Anaya, the simplest way is just to limit exposure.
We have 3 boys, and our kids are 7, 6, and 2.5. So what we try to do is keep politics for now out of the home. So my husband and I like to watch the news when the kids are not around, so they're not exposed to it yet.
But for older kids, the issues and your approach should be different.
Yeah, we have 3, 2 high schoolers, a senior, junior, and a 4th grader.
We talked to Dr. Phyllis Fagel, a licensed mental health counselor and author of the book Middle School Superpower, about the best ways to discuss politics with your progeny. She says to start with the basics. Explain phrases like voting, electoral college, and peaceful transfer of power to provide context and a starting place. She says to also start with curiosity. Ask your child how they feel about particular topics and why, remembering to tell your child that not everyone has the same perspective. Next, Fagel says to focus on policies, not on politicians, so that you don't demonize or idolize either side, which is what Link says they already do in their home.
Definitely policies, starting with what's sustainable and good. You can always get a kind of a character snapshot, but that's not always the best indicator for how things are going to go.
Fagel says to allow your children to play a role. If they're scared about a particular topic, encourage them to write a letter or a social media post to express their fears as well as their hopes for a resolution. She concludes by saying that the most important part is to stay optimistic. Encourage kids to be agents of change and allow them to feel powerful with their thoughts, but to listen and not attack others who feel differently. Finding some sort of common ground, even with others who can't see their perspective, is a lifelong skill and one that many adults would do good to remember.
There's a point where they have to formulate their own thought, but they definitely know where we stand on things, and that's a good foundation.
And remember, if you or your family are struggling with election anxiety issues, Crisis Text Line has created a hotline to provide resources. You can text the word election to 741-741, and crisis counselors are available to help 24/7. Covering news that matters, Sunny Lee, Fox 23 News.
Early voting continues through this Saturday. You can also vote in person, of course, at your polling place on Election Day.